Well, all right. I see. I'm starting a few moments early because I see people are here. Jim's here. Douglas, yes, Douglas. I saw your message, and so I was like, yeah. Why don't I get started a little earlier than usual? I had no idea I was keep, and then it really hit me. I was like, oh yes, I never really think of the time zones correctly, and so yeah. So let me see. We have a few moments. Oh yeah, so let's keep Jim's keep Jim and his sister. And yes, and yeah, so I figured first because somebody had asked also for Ezekiel after this last chapter, do the first chapter of Ezekiel, and then after that have a short bit of chat. Because I want you guys. I like that you're all engaging each other. Don't want it to be like I just pop on, say a few things, and then jump off. To about 5 today. Yeah, just you know, yeah, keep me in your prayers. Just and hopefully I'll get some information back on the chance to do some interviewing with these places. And yeah, that's it, yeah, it is what it is. Trying to land a new job. Um, and let's see what. Oh, oh yes. So unbelievable how the amount of stuff that ended up and in. Oh no, you're getting the buffering, and I'm not seeing anything. It's not saying anything to me about. It's not saying anything to me about. So well, I know. Let's just begin and get rolling. And so we'll try to do it while it's in flight. Do it while it's in flight. Hey, Swamp Fox, glad to see you here. Glad to see everybody here. It's good. I'll try to, because I'm not really working yet. It's I might as well do these slightly to log on, take a look, and then and get your dinner and everything. So, all right, in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Lamentations, chapter 5. He does have problems if it starts. Could you chat to let me know? Because everything looks aces. It's a bit choppy. Okay, I am using that small camera that I have. Yeah, it's just one of those things until I get an external video card for it. I think that's going to be kind of a contiguous problem. Yeah, it's just one of those. All right, so chapter 5. O Lord, what has befallen us? Behold and see our disgrace. Our heritage has passed to aliens, our homes to strangers. We have become orphans, fatherless. Our mothers are like widows. On water, obtain our own kindling. We are hot pursued, exhausted, we are given no rest. We hold out a hand to Egypt, to Assyria for our fill of bread. Sinned and are no more, and we built. Slaves are ruling over. With none to rescue us from them, we get our bread at the peril of our lives, because our skin glows like an with the fever of famine. They have ravished women in Zion, maidens in the towns of Judah. Princes have been hanged by. Respect has been shown to elders. Young millstones and youths stagger under loads of wood. The old men are gone from the gate, the young men from their music. Hearts, our dancing is turned The crown has fallen from our head. Woe to us that we have sinned. Because of this, our hearts are sick. Because of these, our eyes are dim. Because of Mount Zion, which lies desolate, jackals prowl over it. But you, O Lord, are enthroned forever. Your throne endures through the ages. Why have you forgotten us utterly, forsaken us for all time? Take us back, O Lord, to your and let us come back. Renew our days as of old, for truly you have rejected us, bitterly raged against us. O Lord, to yourself, and let us come back. Renew our days as of old. All right. Whew. That's powerful. That's powerful mourning. And I forget who it requested it, but I want to thank you again for making me consider the Book of Ezekiel, because I hadn't really known much about it. And so here we go. Chapter 1. In the 30th year, on the 5th day of the 4th month, when I was in the community of exiles by the Chebar Canal, the heavens opened of God. Day of the month, it was the 5th year of the exile of King Jehoiakim. The Lord came to the priest Ezekiel, son of Buzi, by the Chebar Canal in the land of Chaldeans, and the hands of the Lord came upon him there. I looked, and lo, a stormy wind came sweeping out of the north, a huge cloud and flashing fire surrounded by radiance, and in the center of it, in the center of the fire, a gleam as of amber. In the center of it were also the figures of 4 creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the figures of human beings. However, each had 4 faces, and each of them were wings. The legs of each were fused into a single rigid leg, and the feet of each were like a single, and their sparkle was like the luster of burnished. They had human hands below their wings. The 4 of them had their faces and their wings on their 4 sides. One's wings touched those of the other. They did not turn when they moved. Each could move in the direction of any of its faces. Each of them had a human face at the front. Each of the 4 had the face of a lion on the right. Each of the 4 had the face of an ox on the left. And each of the 4 had the face of an eagle at the back. Such were their faces. As for their above, each had 2 touching covered its body, and each could move of any of its faces. They went wherever the spirit impelled without turning when they moved. Such then was the appearance of the creatures. With them was something that looked like burning coal. Torches kept moving about among. Fire had a radiance, and lightning issued from the fire. To and fro among the creatures was something that looked like flames. As I gazed, I saw one wheel on the ground next to each of the 4 creatures. As for the appearance and structure of the wheels, they gleamed like beryl. All 4 had the same form. The appearance was as of 2 wheels cutting through, and when they moved, each could move in the direction of any of its 4 quarters. They did not veer when they moved. Their rims were turning, for the rims of all 4 were covered all over eyes. And when the creatures moved forward, the wheels moved at their sides. And when the creatures were born above the earth, the wheels were born. Where the Spirit impelled them to go, they went, wherever held them, and the wheels were borne alongside them, for the spirit of the creatures was in the wheels. When those moved, these moved, and when those stood still, these stood still, and when those were borne above, the wheels were borne alongside them, for the spirit of the creatures was in the wheels. Above the heads of the creatures was a form, ants, with an awe-inspiring gleam, was spread out above their heads. Under the expanse, each one pair of wings extended toward those of the others, and each had another pair covering its body. They moved, I could hear the sound of their wings, like the sound of mighty waters, like the sound of Shaddai, like the din of an army. When they stood still, they would let their wings droop. From above the expanse over their heads came a sound. When they stood still, they would let their wings droop. Above the expanse over their heads was the semblance of a throne, in appearance like sapphire, and on top upon this semblance of a throne there was the semblance of a human form. From what appeared his loins up, I saw a gleam as of amber, what looked like a fire encased in a frame, and as his loins down, I saw what looked like fire all about him, like the appearance of the bow which shines in the clouds on a day of rain. Such was the appearance of radiance. That was the appearance of the presence of the Lord. When I beheld it, I flung myself down on my face, and I heard the voice of someone speaking. And he, O mortal, stand up on your feet, that I may speak to you. As he spoke to me, a spirit entered into me and set me upon. I heard what was being spoken to me. He said to me, sending you to the people of Israel, that nation of rebels who have rebelled against me, they as well as their fathers, this very day. For the sons are brazen, stubborn of heart. I send you to them, and you shall say to them, thus said the Lord God, whether they listen or not, for they are a rebellious breed, that they may know that there was a prophet among them. And you, mortal, do not fear them, and do not fear their words, though thistles and thorns press against you, and you sit upon scorpions. Do not be afraid of their words, and do not be dismayed by them, though they are a rebellious breed, but speak my words to them, whether they listen or not, for they are rebellious like that rebellious breed. Open your mouth and eat what I am giving you. As I looked, there was a hand stretched out to me, holding a written scroll. He unrolled it before me, and it was inscribed on both the front and the back. On it were written lamentations, dirges, and woes. All right. So now we begin the book of Ezekiel. And this one's a good long one. So we'll be on this for a while. And give me just one moment. I'm going to do a little something here. Very carefully. Nice and careful. Whoop. Here we go. It's nice, balmy 70-some degrees. Very, very pleasant. Got my light on there. See, I was using this handy deal. Give me a second. I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to just get something out. Get this out of the way. Get my little space all set up. Okay. And we're back. So let's see who's all joined us for tonight. All right, MGTOW Cowboy. Oh, okay. So I'm making sure slowly, and actually, I'm glad. It's no, it's actually not that hot. But I went out for an afternoon walk. Got my little walk on. You'll see that, and actually, I have a video uploading right now. In fact, should plug this in. Come on, there we go. No fiddle faddle. I know, yeah, 50s to 70s is absolutely perfect. You know, it's like maybe some of the younger guys like it nice and burning hot, but it's, no, you get to a certain age and you're like, no, that area about 55 to about 75, that's aces. It's a nice little breeze, and you're in heaven. You're absolutely in heaven. You're actually pretty much in like Jerusalem, mostly year round until the summer. Don't know what anybody really wants to discuss, but I just wanted to bring up, I'm making sure that I'm going through everything I marked private, posting it as unlisted, and slowly I'm taking about, say, every 2 to 3 days to really post a cluster of videos. So I think I'm going to actually do another channel on Discord that is past videos of Donovan, or Donovan's past videos. So it's just that there's, and post the ones that have had them. I'm doing mostly by reactions and views. So the ones that have gotten the views, the ones that have gotten the most comments, that I'm kind of choosing. And so look for that, MGTOW Cowboy. Look for that on the Discord, because then oh, great, David, great. Okay, so I'm glad somebody likes that idea, because then I can make sure that it also kind of makes it a little more. And I'm actually looking up. I keep doing stuff like that too. I realized that there were a lot of them that I put hashtags, hashtag this, hashtag that. So I'll be looking up hashtag MGTOW. Looking up the word rant in the title, stuff like that. So you'll probably see clusters that I searched for it in that way. And there's likelihood I'll probably be posting them kind of doubly. You probably saw that I sort of posted them in a bunch of different channels, trying to figure out where they fit. And I just thought, no, just make a specific channel for old videos that I had shot. Right now, I'm actually uploading something. So if you are getting a little buffering and such like that, I made a short video where today, or not short, actually a rather long video, yes, okay, the mothers, yes, that's actually one. I put a bunch of those in the MGTOW section. I think I'm going to look up mothers again. And so that's a good thank you. There we are. There's something for me to remember. That specific title: look up Refault and Mothers. But yeah, I'm posting something that had to do with because Hood Servative had brought up this new kind of, not so much new, but I guess it's relatively new, from 2018, like a Black conservative movement, conscious conservative, and float plane. I have not heard of that. Yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay. So there's something called float plane I should look up. All right, thank you. I'll look it up. Hold on a second. I'm sitting on the exercise ball, and it is not as good as the chair. There we are. And so yeah, so I have. And so the Black conscious conservative movement, and so it was that I really was putting in this thing of that I was like, yeah, that which is conservative already has really kind of a lot of, is already pretty well defined, I figured. And so it was one of those things. I started sitting back like, yeah, well, how, there's this tendency, especially now with social media, is to try to come up with new kind of movements. And so probably some of you picked up on past videos where I would discuss, you know, the new reactionaries and the various characters that were popping up in the reactosphere, or the far right, and this and that and the other, where it was really, that's why I kept concentrating on various source texts that I was trying to get a sense of, well, what most ends up having to do with is the self-discipline and disciplining the appetites, taming the mind and taming the passions. So that, because I had studied a lot about Buddhism, and Buddhism has the same tendency that it's very conservative. It's exceedingly conservative when you are trying to live like as a Buddhist. And that, you know, to the point where the commandments for, you know, or the rules for most lay people are not very different than rules for monks. To even the point of, you know, that you would end up, you know, being a vegetarian, just like the monks would. So, Sky King. So I started really thinking about that I was like, why are people trying to redefine this thing called conservatism? And is it really going to help anything? Is it really going to aid people in trying to live a certain lifestyle, to try to do it? How do they do it? Oh, thank you, Baggins. Oh, thank you very much. Howdy Donovan actually caught the live chats this time. Thanks for your efforts. You're always welcome, and thank you. Thank you very much. And so and I wanted to ask people if there's anything in particular that you could tell me, and especially there was somebody who quite specifically they had told me before in the Discord. They had told me, okay, this is the kind of like streaming OBS you might want to try, that it doesn't take up much memory. It, you know, it doesn't take up much RAM really, so that it won't, you know, we won't get a whole lot of buffering, this, that, and the other. Because I wanted to have an idea of like if I wanted to screen share and things like that, because that's really one of those things I've had to sit back and I'm like, no, I'm quite certain I cannot, you know, that there's no way of on here screen sharing. That's not the way YouTube's designed. So if there was something that I wanted to kind of step up a level, how do I screen share? And so if there's anything that I'll have found, this is what, you know, use this for this purpose, use this, hey Latin Patriot, use this type of OBS, you know, this type of OBS works this way, this type of OBS works this way. And then that, you know, that would be very handy for me, you know, especially if you could kind of, you know, I'm not terribly savvy. So, you know, what's the one that you have used or, you know, people use that's the easiest to deal with. And so, and especially if you were to hit me on in Discord, or yeah, hit me in Discord. That's one of the easiest ways that then I could, you know, we could do a back and forth where I could actually ask you some questions about, okay, is it Restream or Streamlab? It's just not hitting me. That came up. The name came up often to use that OBS. So. And it was mostly because this computer is not bad in any way. It's just that it only has so much RAM, and until I get something like an Elgato external video card. By the way, it's in the Amazon wish links list. Until I get one of those, I think I'm going to have every so often the buffering issue, and it's mostly just because it's so frustrating, I figure, for all of you to have it buffer over and over again. So I gotta admit that the Sky King, that was such a fascinating event, you know, and it's one of those that just kind of came and went. yeah, you know, I mean, we all remember that quite specifically, and there was just that, God, that was such a sad moment. That just that moment where, you know, he's like, yeah, I think I'm gonna barrel roll, and he's like, do not barrel roll. He goes, yeah, I'm gonna barrel roll, and it was just like, oh my gosh, you know, and but the whole thing of that, he was just like some baggage guy or technician. He just got in and just took the made the plane fly off, and that this is one of those things that happens. How did this guy just get in the plane and fly off? Like, I mean, for real, like that really happened. You know, he really did that. Um, so, uh, oh, oh, wow. Oh, okay. Well, thank you, Jim. Okay. If I'm pretty sure you're in my Discord, I could then give you an address to send it to and everything like that, you know, and um, yeah, and see, it's just that I thought I showed you guys what this looks like, because it has to be an external card. Let me just show you what this machine looks like. This is actually kind of a cool machine. And so that little section down there, that's got the 2 terabyte SATA. Yes, because it's solid state. Yes, it's got the 2 terabyte SATA in there, so it's like I have plenty of memory, you know, long-term memory. It's just the amount of RAM, and so and there's no way of fiddle faddling with this and putting in more RAM. There used to be. They used to tell people, here's how you put in a MSATA, right? Yeah, MSATA. Inside of it, but it seemed like at some point they stopped giving that advice. I think it was because people were messing it up, or maybe they changed the design or something. So that's why I focused on putting in the 2 terabyte so that I could keep backing up everything on the 2 terabytes. Even though now everything is cloud, you know, that's the way that everything is designed now. I know, how much more RAM do you need? The answer is yes. I know, totally. Do you need a bit more RAM? Yes. Yeah, you know. So holy crap, New York and the flooding. I mean, did you see? Have you all seen all that? All the damage, and like Project Veritas posted the video of what their office looked like after the water was gone. It just looks like somebody. It looks like, you know, the classic scene in some television show where the burglars had turned the place over, you know, and you know, and I guess they're going to have to rebuild and do all kinds of stuff to their office and everything. But boy, those scenes from the subway, like, and those subways go way down, you know. So I was like, and I just seeing like this water just pouring out, and you could see people standing on the stairs, just with that kind of moment where they're like looking at it, you know, just that moment, like, so you're gonna try it? No, we shouldn't try this. And what really hit me is, like, then there were actually cars, apparently, that people were in there, like, waist deep in water, from what I heard. And so I don't know if you all have seen footage of that. You know, if you've seen some footage of it, post it to Discord, because I mean, like, I only saw like 1 or 2 images of what the subways looked like, and I was very curious. Yeah, I mean, after, you know, the floods that hit China, and some of those tunnels and some of those subways where people are like up to their neck, and they're all on their phones, and like, you know, real calm, you know, just kind of like, oh yeah, up to my neck in water, what you gonna do? Just like, what the, okay, you know. Yes, Project Veritas. It was interesting. Project Veritas cited the Book of Job as in their post. I believe it was to Facebook. I'm trying to do Facebook a lot less too. if anybody noticed, I also changed a lot of my Facebook settings so that everything can pretty much only be seen by friends. All past things will be seen by friends. It's just there's just nothing about Facebook. I'm not really getting much out of it anymore. And so, yeah, Facebook, no good. There's this part of me that's just kind of like, I should just dump my Facebook. I should just dump it. It's just there's no point anymore. Yeah, and there's not much point anymore on Facebook. Twitter, I'll find like good stories, something I could share. I like posting, looking it up and then looking it up on one device and posting it all to Discord, and but now it's like I mostly have been using Telegram. Recently started up a Telegram account. Don't really know everything you can do with Telegram, but I do that a lot and been keeping up on things via Telegram. So yeah, so are you all doing okay? Because I have no idea where any and all of you live, so I don't really know if any of you have been underwater. I see somebody was flooding and tornadoes. Some of those tornadoes, I saw some that were, what was it, in Pennsylvania, epic tornadoes, and I just that was unbelievable. Yeah. I know, yeah, there's that part of me, I gotta admit, is somebody who I believe she has started homeschooling her kids. It was a decision between her and her husband, but apparently it one of the things is that it was my channel and then stuff I was posting to Facebook that really kind of made her change just change her mind about stuff. So there is that part of me that's like, well, maybe Facebook, and maybe Facebook has its value. Oh, okay. Was it coincidence? I just looked you up on Facebook. Maybe keen for a vid chat sometime. We just had a knife wielding maniac in Auckland. Not sure if it made it in. Oh, I did not see that. 6 injuries, but no one died. Wow. I swear that's one. I don't know if you saw Baggins. You probably saw that because a lot of people kind of right of center were posting the guy who hatcheted somebody in New York. He just like walked in this bank. This dude's on the teller machine, doing his thing, not really paying attention. And this guy's walking around with this hatchet, like trying to figure out sort of what to do first. And he just went for this guy's leg, and then from there, the dude, it was just a super normal, big city, kind of liberal guy, and had no idea what to do, So he's just trying to kind of hold out his hands or something, just no concept of trying to strike him back or kick or anything, and just kept getting hit, and then trying to if I grab at his hand with the hatchet in it, and of course all the guy has to do is pull back and then hatchet him again. And it was the dude, oh, it was just awful. It was just awful. And then after the guy, and I think the victim lived, if I remember correctly, but then he just went for all the teller machines. He just pow, 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 went for all the teller machines, then took, oh, this was in New York. And then just tossed the hatchet and walked out. I mean, it was that crazy. And I guess when they found the dude, it turned out that he was a former veteran who just had lost his shit, and he had done this. He had a number of assaults and violent incidences. And yeah, it just is a nightmare. I mean, like some just absolute nightmare world. Yeah, it really one of those things. I mean, just heaven preserve us. That any things like that, happen. I don't know if any of you saw the guy just standing there, and so there's a unstable connection. Oh no. Okay. There's a guy just standing there, and this is all being shot from the car cam of Detroit police, and a car just drives up, and somebody has a AR pistol and just starts bucking shots at this dude. Like, this dude takes off running, you know, and starts bucking shots at this guy. And what do the police do? They drive off and drive off in such a way that you could tell the car full of shooters realizes, wait a second, there's a cop right there, like right next to us, and they have to stop their car so as to not T-bone the police as they take off top speed away from the area. That happened, I think, about like last month, like last 2 weeks of last month or something like that. It was unbelievable. Yeah, it just, one of the things, things about nanotechnologies and magnetic, not fullerenes, graphene in the recent inoculations. I've heard a number of things about the graphene in there. I don't think that there's anything any more complicated than that, but that is very disturbing. That we can't really get answers about, like, is there something like graphene in there or not? And that this is just made, it's proprietary. We're just supposed to not ask questions, you know, and I think I think it's going to, right now, there are publications here in Oregon that are saying they're very concerned about the various public unions. The public unions for firefighters and police are just not having this. They're just like, no, you're not mandating anything, you know, for us, you know, and it's really one of those things that without their, because of all these city councils just being openly hostile to both the firefighters, paramedics, and police, I think that they've truly screwed the pooch on this. And so it's going to be one of those things that this is, I think, especially in a place like Oregon, you're going to see this as one of the key battlegrounds. There's already a number. One of the most fascinating things, I don't know if this is happening in other parts of the country. Here in Oregon, we're getting a lot of conservative women going for office and doing pretty well at getting support. And so it's going to be interesting. There's going to be a real fight for the governorship coming up. The 2022 is going to be a absolutely fascinating year in American political history. Let's see. Coast to Coast radio guest says the future of nanotechnology is that we'll be able to buy knowledge like download calculus. That is one of the things. That series of books, and now an extended number of manga that have been franchised, from Ghost in the Shell. I think, yeah, Ghost in the Shell, that's one of the top of, like, that guy really is way ahead of his time. He was way ahead of his time. And like one of the manga that came later that he franchised, and so it's that, you know, he has to accept the story and everything like that. It was about artists, and that what you have is that you have people that fundamentally their cyber brain creates a virtual reality art project, you know, so you're in a virtual reality. That's a real common form of entertainment of that day. But the thing is, they aren't the one making it. They're actually buying that and the rights and everything from the original artist, and then downloading the whole thing and then putting it on the market as themselves. So there would be these famous, not real artists. And one of the interesting things that it got into is that the story gets into people who that the original artist has actually vanished. And so that what it is that the original artist is being actually kept someplace in some kind of deep sleep, and that they're constantly they're just extracting these ideas from their mind, as this person's in kind of autistic mode, as they put it. So this sort of quasi sleep, and really being manipulated fundamentally by some kind of series of virtual reality programs and other forms of programs that hack their ghost, and hack the various shells of their consciousness. And a really fascinating storyline. There's of those manga that I've started to look into. I've looked into one, got it on my Kindle, and I was like, this is very well done. This story is exceedingly well done. And so it's, I know, yeah, it's ironic, yeah, trapped in your own artistic creation. There's actually one of those manga. Dang, I thought I actually had it out here somewhere, but I'm sure it's probably in here actually, that what the computer's sitting on. That it was one of the later ones, one of the later of the original Masamune Shirow ones. And it's this whole thing of after what happens to Motoko Kusanagi. And so she is now, was it Motoko? Oh, she's going by a different last name. And so the idea is that it's like she's still her, but now she's on she's on an artificial city island, corporate city island called Poseidon. And this is a big thing that Shiro constantly uses, this place Poseidon as sort of this place in the Appleseed series, that there's this place called Poseidon. Then if you look at a lot of his later art, he'll have these security agents, and that if you look at what's on their badges and stuff, it says Poseidon Security. And so she's in Poseidon, and she's this in a security person somewhere way up in the top levels of security of some firm, and it's her chasing down a hacker. And so one of the things that she does is and so it shows her actually what it looks like from her perception as she bounces off of a satellite, back traces this hacker. The hacker's actually using a pig farm, and that they've wired up pig brains so that all the pigs can be, while they're using them, they could use them as fundamentally like a server, as an AI server. And so she is slowly going through the process of trying to find where this hacker is, how they're doing these hacks to different people. And it all happens within like about a day and a half. And so one of the key things is that she jumps from body to body to body to body. So she's jumping into all these robotic bodies, and then like just waking up someplace, popping out of the storage unit, and then taking off and doing something, and swimming under the city, hacking some device there, fighting some cyborg who is again somebody who has been hacked fundamentally and is like a combat cyborg who works someplace, and this person just got hacked, and so she's fighting them. And it's an amazing book, and it only has like one shot of I can't believe I'm forgetting that her commander, her former commander, his name, monkey faces or ape faces, as Bateau would call them. But there's him and Bateau at one point having a meeting, and Bateau now he's taken all of his long hair off, and it also gets into then the psychic division of Japanese security, and this idea that there's this director, what's his face, and I'm totally forgetting, because she names herself after him. And so what's funny is that there's a key point at which she realizes that versions of herself are actually a part of this assault on Poseidon. And so is it her or a copy of her? And amazing story. It's I just can't even encapsulate it all. It's highly recommended. I highly recommend those books, and it's one of the ones that's smaller. It's not like the big original graphic novel. It's much smaller, like a typical manga. So there's that's one of those interests that I have, that I highly recommend Ghost in the Shell and almost everything that Masamune Shirow has ever made, like the Appleseed series. That's one, if you were to look up Masamune Shirow, Appleseed, oh my gosh, whoa, thank you, Rod, thank you, oh my gosh, that was fantastic. A Canadian fee, all right, yeah. Oh, look, it's getting unstable. Shouldn't move around so much. Is it still buffering? Is it still unstable? Got my unstable connection. I have no idea why it does this. Yeah, I have no idea what makes the connection suddenly unstable. I don't quite get it. Nobody else is using my router. But yes, thank you very much. I'll definitely use that for good purposes. Yeah, I've yet to figure out how YouTube does its distribution. I'm just expecting at some point I'll get some letter in the possibly, thing. I don't really know. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I'll tell you when I find out how they end up doing it. So the Appleseed, you can look up. There's Appleseed, like it's like Wiki. I think like Wiki Fan or something like that. Or you put in Appleseed and Wiki in Google, and one of the things that's really awesome is that it gives these are all the fans writing these articles on it. So there's a whole thing about this thing called the Imperial Americana, and that's always a reference that's made from Ghost in the Shell all the way through Appleseed. And so the Imperial Americana is a government based out of Texas. Its capital is, I think, Houston or Dallas. And so if any of you remember in Ghost in the Shell, there's one of the episodes where they taught the sniper, the guy who's the sniper, and his eagle eye, and how he got his eagle eye because Motoko shot him in the eye. And it was her against him in Mexico City. And one of the things is that it's the UN force, and Motoko's a part of it. And in that UN force, if I remember correctly, one of the Rangers, the American Rangers, is Bato. And so they have to grab a briefcase nuke and transport it, and they get held down by this sniper. And the sniper is the dude, is Saito, and he's like this famous international mercenary sniper by that point. And it's an amazing story. It's an amazing origin story. Because one of the things that happens is he realizes that she's a full conversion combat cyborg, and that she's using a heavy rifle. And because range that they're at a certain stage is that they are at close range or medium range. So he realizes now he can probably shoot her with his rifle, but he has only so much time because she's hardwired into her rifle for her to download what it takes to adapt to medium range. And he has to make this decision. Is the satellite in position for her to make that download? And all this stuff, it gets into all this, and then it turns out that his bet was wrong. And so the thing is, so she shoots him in the eye, he falls down, and she's on him like flies on shit, and literally he's like just standing above him, and she's like, you now work for me. And that's like the famous about her, is that every person the best that she has to deal with, who almost beat her, she always recruits them. And I thought that was also a fascinating thing about her character. I don't know if any of you saw that there's the series Ghost in the Shell Rise. That one I highly recommend too, because it gets in the origin story of Bato. And then this suddenly makes so much sense why they're so close, why the weird relationship they have that's quasi-romantic, but it's all, yeah, it's very interesting. It's a very interesting series because it gets into what happened to Bato, and it really gets into and the idea of the cyber brain and all that, and that's what happened to him, like that. And so it's and her origin story as well, because it gets into like sort of the first stages of her getting good at dealing with brain hacking and being cyber hacked, and also the unit developed her as a combat hacker. Like, where did she come from? And the whole idea of that her body wasn't her own. The Japanese government actually owned her body, and so you get to see basically after the war, and you get to see what Japan looks like, and it's much darker. There's lots of people in uniforms all over the place, and so you get kind of this new understanding of the contiguous timeline as well. So, well, we're almost at an hour, so I'll let everybody get on to what you're doing. It's probably almost 9 or 10 where you are, and so I know and the stream's getting a little figured at this point. Let everybody do your thing, get some dinner, and a really great day. Tomorrow I'll probably just do a reading. I'll probably chapters 3, 4, and possibly 5, but definitely 3 and 4 of Ezekiel. And it will probably be a bit earlier than I used to do it. It'll be more around this time. So yeah, and I want to thank you all for those super chats. That was magnificent. I know time flies, and so also remember, use the Discord rather liberally. Send me messages on anything that you think would be fun to watch, or that I should look into. If there's any subject you kind of want me to bring up that you've been curious about or something like that. Can't recommend Bayan books highly enough. Bayan. Okay. I'll. Okay, Jim. Yeah, Jim, you're always keeping me on my toes. You're always surprising me. You see, you're always keeping up the algorithm. All right. So, everybody, take care. It's a strange world out there, and also watch for what's happening in. I don't know if any of you who have want to have an interesting experience. And see, I never changed my registration from many years ago. Oh, you, Edward, thank you much. I never changed my registration, so I didn't realize until like about a few weeks back Oh, okay. Sci-fi fantasy publisher. Okay, okay. That I was still registered as a Democrat, and because of this, I have my email somewhere, so I keep getting all these emails, and something strange is going on in that. They don't know what to do. They are very, very. It's sort of like teething that they could definitely throw lightning and smoke and fire and ice in all these different directions, but they're also bumping their heads into each other. And you're getting all emails about how California is saved, don't worry, Gavin Newsom's doing great. Literally the next morning you're getting all these things that I know I've been really, yes, Jay Faust, I've been thoroughly like taking all this in and trying to drop what little things I can. A lot of people are ahead of me on the news on this. Like Liberal Hive Mind has been consistently ahead of me on this, and he's been seeing this too. I don't think he's registered. Yeah, I don't think they're sending him emails, but they don't know what to do, and there's never anything about Kamala Harris. There's nothing they are really, there's nothing they can do to brag about her possibilities or anything like that. Oh, yes, yes, totally, yes. Yeah, I see that, Jim. I see that. That does come in very handy, yes. And I do have actually a read write that I bought a long time ago. So that's, yeah, aces into it that. But yeah, I think I'll leave it there. And so probably every 2 or 3 of these, I'll if there's something that comes up, have a little chat, and but I'll try to make sure to do these. And if I end up working normal, banker baker hours, then expect I will move these to really early, like really early before I would even go to work, so that and then they might end up being short, or they'll be right after work and they'll end up being real late. So a lot of you will probably have to catch them later on, and only like on a day off can I do something where I chat with people and such. We'll see how that goes. I might end up only getting part-time, wherever I work. So we'll see. But okay, now we're at about an hour. This is perfect. And so everybody take care of yourself. Pray for Australia, pray for New Zealand, pray for the Republic. And I got to admit, I'm very proud of what France and Britain and Germany are really, they're really being quite impressive about saying, bullocks to all that, and I'm very impressed at the moment how much they're standing up for themselves, and all the nurses and all these people who are just like, no, I'm not buying it. You can't make me. And that's that. Hopefully that's the future. And so, all right. In the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. May God bless you all. Have a good night.